Come Out of the Shadows is D.M. Needham's latest novella. World-famous singer Grace Fillmore catches the attention of many admirers. However, one individual will go to extreme measures to possess her. With the stalker situation intensifying, Grace's record label enlists bodyguard Dylan Roberts for her protection. As Dylan takes on the role of safeguarding Grace, she notices something she desires, but so does Dylan. Can Dylan stop the threat, or will their attraction become a distraction that jeopardizes everything? Come Out of the Shadows is available on Amazon.com. Welcome to the Better Two podcast. I'm your host, Dauna. Today's guest is a podcast host, an author, and a cancer survivor. And that guest is me. So, what do we need to talk about today? Well, let's talk about the good news. 2025 is about over, which hopefully 2026 is going to be better, but we'll see. The one good thing that has come out, I started 2025 out in January with a cancer diagnosis, and I am ending the year with being cancer-free at this point. I'm in remission. We will have another checkup in April. So that's good news. I'm happy about that. The holiday season will be quiet. It's been quiet the last few years, and I'm okay with that. So... And I think that's something that we don't really discuss much, because when we talk about holidays, everybody talks about the fact that, oh, I'm going to go see family. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. And it's not that I don't have friends. The first year that after my husband passed, I did go over to some friends' house for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And there was an awkwardness to it. And even last year, I went over to a friend's house a couple of days after Thanksgiving, and it was fine. We had a decent time, but there's still this awkwardness of where do I fit in? And that's something that I think is just an overall thing that we don't think about. We just assume that everybody's having those Hallmark holidays and everything is just perfect. And there's a lot of people that don't have that. And especially this year, I would think that the holidays have been a little bit harder for most people. I'm actually taping this. This is going to air the end of December, I believe December 26th, but I'm actually taping this December 8th. Hence the holidays. So I think that, we have to start looking around, and it's not just the holidays, it's everything that we are shown people on TV as, here's a group of people, they're going on vacation together. This whole group of friends, they're going on vacation together. And while that's true for a lot of people that they get that opportunity, that's not everybody's life. And I think that's the one thing that we are sold so often is this belief that you're supposed to fit in with everybody else. And I don't think everybody does. And I could be wrong. But I think that some of us we don't have those connections that we're sold. We don't have the friends that we believe we should have. I've always laughed, and a couple of my other friends have too, about, you and your closest 400 friends or your closest 30 friends. It's like, do I know 30 people that I would actually want to hang out with? And I think that's the thing that we are taught to believe, that we're supposed to have all these followers now on social media, and we're supposed to have all these friends, and we're supposed to have a wedding party that's of 200 people. When I got married to my husband, I think we had 30 people there, and we could have had a couple more people, but we opted not to. But it wasn't like we were going to have this big soiree with hundreds and hundreds of people. Because at what point does, it goes back to that whole thing of quantity versus quality. If you have all these people that know you, but they don't really know you, are they really your friends? And so when you're thinking about the holidays and even thinking about going forward in the year ahead, yeah, there may be a person you see at a restaurant that may be sitting by themselves. It could be by choice. It could be because they lost somebody. It could be because they're socially awkward and they don't know where they fit in. So give them some grace. I think that should be kind of a thought for this coming year. If we can give more people grace, and I'm not saying forgive people, and I'm not saying to get in arguments online, that, but hear the other person's viewpoint. And I was reading something today where this person came to a reader, and this person had some really dark views, and the reader sat with them and worked with them, and they decided that they saw the humanity was more needing. And so maybe as we move forward into 2026 and 2027, we can look at people with more humanity instead of just anger and bitterness and wanting to harm, because the fact of the matter is we're all human. We all have problems. We all have moments of not being the best. And we all have moments of where we need to reach out to the other person. Because the one thing that we don't think about is how somebody else may benefit from something either we have, or a conversation, or just being nice. A couple weeks ago, we had a snowstorm, and it was heavy snow. And I have a snow thrower, but my snow thrower couldn't handle it. I did one pass and it was fine. And then overnight, we got a massive amount of snow. And because I have health issues, I brought a little folding chair out there because I knew I could only make so many passes. So I made 2 passes, and then I sat down, and it was freezing cold, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do my porch because the snow's heart attack snow, and I'm not going to be able to do the driveway at the bottom because when the plow comes through, it pushes all the snow back. So I'm not going to be able to do all that. And fortunately, one of my neighbors saw me. I did wave to him, but he came over, and he's like, do you need some help? And I explained, and I told him what I needed, and my snowblower died because it's an electric one. And he's like, don't worry about it. Him and his friend ended up doing it, and they didn't charge me anything. They're like, we're doing it because we want to help you. And so if we can find more of those moments out there to be able to help people, that's where we need to be. That's where I hope we can be. Because I think if we can all come from a place of community and compassion, the world could be a much better place. Instead of looking at, oh, look, if you do this, you can be this much skinnier, you can look younger, you can have this car, you can be this person, and but at the end of the day, you're going to get skinny one day when you pass away. Why can't we accept who we are? If you have a health issue, sure, but why do we have to always try to emulate somebody else? Why can't we just be ourselves? You know, I talked about this before. Losing my hair was a big, scary thing for me. But ultimately, when it came down to it, I went bald. I was okay with it. I still have my wig that sits over here on my mic stand. But I haven't worn it. I think the last time I put it on the podcast, and that was it. And I haven't worn it since. I could wear it out now publicly because, hey, it's cold. But it's not who I am. And I think that's one thing about 2026 too, is we need to be more authentically who we are. And, that means, my hair's not coming back completely. I'm a little bald and it's a little grayer, and that's life. But keep doing and being yourself, and release the hate, release the toxic shit. Figure out how to move forward and what you need to do. Now, one thing that's important that you need to know is that the show is changing because, we're going on to 5 years now. And because of all my medical stuff and everything else going on in the world and in our country here, cost of things have gone up, and I don't have the extra funds to continually to front the podcast. So because of that, I had to change my plan, and I'm no longer a pro member, so I can't talk as long as I want. I have a strict time frame. And in that time frame, I have 40 minutes to say hello to my guests, say goodbye to my guests, and wrap that up. That's not counting the intro and outro. That's separate. But so the podcast is going to be roughly 40 minutes now, and sometimes shorter. And it's going to be every other week because the hosting site I had to go to is free as well. I thought about putting it on Patreon. I thought about just stopping. But as much as I thought about those things, I decided that I don't need to do those things. I need to keep doing this for what I'm doing. Now, if I can, will I have more ads? Possibly, because that pays a bill. That pays, a little bit here to keep the show going, because there's still advertising things that I have to do. There's still other little costs to it. There's electricity. There's my time. And It's not that I'm making a lot of money, but if you want to advertise something on the podcast, reach out. If you know of a person that wants to be on the podcast, reach out. If you know of, it doesn't have to be a musician or author. It can be somebody who has a really good story. Reach out. And you can drop me an email at Dauna at better2podcast.com. It'll be in the show notes. But like the website's gone. The website where you could go check who was coming on, that's gone. I will try to be a little bit more due diligent and put it on Facebook, but that is gone. And once again, that's about cutting back. Even where the show was hosted at the better2podcast.com site, that's gone. All of that is gone because I cannot financially sustain it. And I hate doing that because I like being professional. But maybe my lesson, because I'm getting into my Saturn return, my second one, is that I have to know when I can't. And so going forward, this is what the options are. These are the things that I can do. And this will allow me to keep showing up for the show. This will allow the show to keep going. What you can do for me, and I'm not pitching you to send me, I'm not. The biggest thing you can do for me is to share the show. I post on Instagram, post on Facebook, share those posts. If you like the show, leave a review. If you want to say something to me about the show, if you thought it sucked, if you hated something the guest said, you can let me know. But if we want the show to continue, if you want me to keep doing this, I need to know that you're listening. I need to know that you want more. Because if you don't, by the end of 2026, I may just say, you know what? It's been fun. It's been real. I've done it for 5 years. Maybe this is it. Because that has been a conversation I've had multiple times in the last 6 months of, do I keep doing the podcast? I enjoy it, but cost-wise, I can't afford it. And I figured a workaround. But I have to keep looking at things in a bigger picture and going, can I keep doing this? Because even writing, as much as I love writing, and I have books that I have in the works that I want to put out, I still have to have financial support for those in order to get those out. I'm part of a short story series called Dirty Desires, and I will have a book called Breach of Trust coming out in June. But I have to make sure that copyright is in place. And there's several other books that I've written, including a retelling of Goldilocks and the Three Bears called Goldie Licks and the Bear Brothers Band. And before you get worried, yes, it's a little smutty, but Goldie Licks is because she's a guitarist. So that's a little bit of a fun story. And there's other books because I'm running 2 timelines, and there's one time set frame, and then there's 2 timelines that go along this time frame. And one is the Better to Burn Out series, one is the Better to Burn Dark series. And the opener is the last book I released, which is Come Out of the Shadows. We have the regular version and we have the dark version. And those books will have a different trajectory. Not everything, they're the same characters, but not everything is the same. It's basically kind of what I posed in the podcast. Would you do the same thing again? Was it better to have done this? Well, it's kind of like that, except, some characters make these choices over here, and then some make choices over there. And where their life leads, who knows? And some points may still end up at the same point, but it's not exactly the same. So that's a little fun thing I'm working on too. And I think those are all things that I'm looking forward to. But I also have to look at finally moving into my house and finally settling down and cleaning out all the clutter that I don't need. Things that I've outgrown that I didn't realize I outgrew, but I have. And so it's all a matter of me looking at my life and going, you know what? It's time to let this go. It's time to move on. And by doing that, it's kind of the theme. It's the snake. And granted, that's this year, but I think that it has now made me to realize that there's certain things I have to shed. And that includes so many things. But it also includes people in my life. And when you get to a certain point, especially after going through when you go through something like cancer, you kind of realize who is there and who's not. And I want to touch back on that point I was talking about earlier, that everybody's experience is different. And I don't fault anybody because, I was fortunate enough to have my hubby, and people would admire us as a couple. But recently, one of my friends went through cancer. She went through breast cancer, and she didn't lose her hair, which, lucky her. I feel for, I feel happy for most of my friends that had gone through their cancer journey and didn't go through this. I think this was my lesson, abject lesson of, you were so worried about losing it. Guess what? You did. And you survived. But when she rang her cancer bell, and this is where I'm coming from, when she rang that cancer bell, which besides loud, it is loud, which we've talked about. She had her husband with her. She had somebody with her. But like when I rang it, I didn't have anybody with me. I was on this journey alone. And that's something that it's hard to fathom. It's hard to understand sometimes. But then in the same breath, it's like, you're here for a reason. You are, and maybe that's the takeaway here, is that I'm here to help others that maybe don't understand that journey. And also the others that are in the same position understand. Because ultimately, we need to be supportive of each other, however, and try to understand who we are. We all are the same. Even though we have different viewpoints, different ideologies, different things we believe, we're all the same. And we have to understand and keep going forward to come to some kind of agreement that I don't have to have what the advertisers are selling me. I don't have to have this hot new cup because somebody said it's the best thing ever. Because by next year, I'm going to go, what the hell? Why did I buy this? Just like fame, a lot of the times things are fleeting. And yes, I know you're seeing all my lovely dolls from when I was a kid. And I've kept them because maybe part of me is that little girl still looking for, the comfort that those dolls brought. Maybe. Who knows? They amuse me that I still have them. But going forward in 2026... I'll still keep those, I think. But who knows? It's a time where I need to decide what I'm doing with my life and figure out who I am. And the second Saturn return, make sure you do that. It's not always fun. It's not always happy. It's about transformation. It's about taking responsibility. It's about owning yourself. And if I can help somebody else do that on this journey with this podcast, then I've done my job. And so I thank you guys for listening. And I'm sure some of you guys have turned off and said, oh, here we are. But I thank you guys for listening because it really does mean something to me that, I know somebody's out there listening. I can see that somebody's listening. And it doesn't matter the numbers, but knowing that you enjoy what I do, the show that I bring you, is nice. So if you can leave that review or tell your friends, I'd greatly appreciate it. And, if you have ideas to help grow the show, or you want to advertise, or if you want to be a guest, or somebody that should be a guest, reach out. And I can be found at Dauna, Dauna, at better2podcast.com. And we'll continue with Fast Susie as the intro. But the show's going to be shorter, and it's every 2 weeks. And ultimately, I hope you guys stick around because I do appreciate you. I do. Just talk to me, please. Yeah, leave me a line. And I promise to, I think the one thing I've been told a lot lately for the last 2 years. It's not lately, it's last 2 years. It's like you need to be more authentically you. And I think that's where I'm at right now is a journey of who I am. Because the person I was before I started with cancer is not the same person. And things have happened with other situations in my life that have made me realize that. So, on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful new year because this will be airing right before New Year's Eve. So I thank you guys for tuning in. I hope your 2025 was good. I hope your 2026 is even better. I hope for all of us that 2026 is better. And whether it be morning, noon, or night, thank you for listening. And I greatly appreciate it. And, well, I'll see you in the new year, 2026 and all. I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.